On today's video, I'm going to be making the neck joint for the custom bass guitar I'm building. And I'm doing it at home in my garage with basic tools and a setup that would make a professional luthier cringe. So this video is a bit longer than my usual videos. That's because I made a pretty big mistake and ended up having to do a bunch of extra work. In the end, it all worked out, but there were definitely a few bumps in the road. So without further ado, let's get into making this mortise and tenon neck joint. All right, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do is work on the neck tenon, because I'm going to make the neck tenon and I'm going to trace it onto the body, and then I'll be able to cut out the body off the neck tenon. I guess the first thing I'm going to do though is just get an accurate measurement of the thickness of the body in this spot here. So our body thickness at the tenon is 1.445 inches. I want there to be at least 3/8 of an inch at the bottom of the body. I don't know if that's normal. That's just what I want. So that means the depth of this neck tenon is going to end up being 1.070 inches. 1.070 inches. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it. Okay, so I got my fretboard here now. As I mentioned in previous episodes, this bass is going to have a 17th fret body joint. So, get this on here. Now I can see I've marked my 17th fret. So, okay, we can get rid of this fretboard now. So now I'm just going to take my machinist square and remark our 17th fret around here just because it got rubbed off. Beautiful. So I got the 17th fret body joint marked all the way around on here. So that is the first step. What I'm going to do for this tenon is actually make from the 17th fret down narrower than than the fretboard. So what I've done here is I just made a line. You can see the pencil line there and a pencil line here. And that's just how far in I'm going to come with the tenon. So it's just going to be a little bit narrower than the width of the neck. But yeah, and right now I'm actually just going to cut this tab off of here because honestly, we don't need it. All right, there we go. Tab is gone. So now let's get our marks extended down. So what I got here is I've got my body joint fret drawn here across. It's very hard to see in this light. But I got my body joint fret drawn across here. Then you can see these two marks. They extend all the way to the end, and you can also see my center line there. So that is going to be the width of my tenon. Now if I flip this over, you can see I got my body joint coming all the way around, right? And then you can see on the back I got my center line, and those two outside lines of my neck tenon extending, and they extend all the way down to the edge or the bottom end of the neck. So that's my center line and my two neck tenon lines. So what I'm going to do now is cut this out. So this is kind of honestly uncharted territory for me. So hopefully I don't mess this up. So I got 3 saws that I can potentially use here. We got this one here. This is a laminate fine tooth, veneer and laminate fine tooth saw. So I don't know if this is the best one. We got my trusty old coping saw. And then we got this saw, which I was using before. I don't even know what kind of saw this is. I got it from my dad, but I like it though. But this one, I don't think is going to be the right one for all of these cuts. I think I'm going to have to use all 3 of these saws, but I'm just going to be careful, do this carefully, and hopefully I don't mess it up. So the first thing I'm going to do, I think, is cut these side cuts into these lines. Okay, so I got the first 2 cuts made. That was kind of nerve-wracking. All right, now we're going to make these long cuts. All right, well, gonna have to clean that up with a chisel, I think, but it's all right, I guess. So that was a lot of work, and it was really hard to do with the saws that I got, but I got it done for the most part. This part kind of snapped off, so I'm gonna have to clean it up with a chisel. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the thickness. Okay, so now I've got this line marked along the side here. So what I'm gonna do is cut this line down to here on both sides, and then I'm gonna cut this piece off, this thinner piece, right off. If you remember in the last episode, maybe, I don't know, I broke a drill bit off in here. Just hit it. So now we gotta deal with that. Great. Just broke it off again. So we got the neck tenon made. At least mostly made. I'm probably gonna have to tweak this a bit. Once I get the mortise made, just to get everything fitting perfectly. But at least we got a starting point, right? So now I'm gonna move on to working on that mortise. Okay, so now I got my body back here, and what I'm gonna do is just get the center line of the neck lined up with the center line of the body, and make sure that the I don't know what you would call this part of the neck, the shoulders of the heel, I don't know. Get those lined up. Okay, so that's all lined up. Now I'm just going to outline the tenon onto the body. Okay, we got our mortise lined out. Basically, it's the exact same as the tenon. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out in these lines as deep as this is thick. And the idea is it's going to fit into this hole, and it's going to be smooth, perfectly flat onto the neck when we're done. Okay, so what I got here is my drill press, and in the chuck I have a Forstner bit, and I've carefully set the depth to be just slightly less than the thickness of our neck tenon. And I'm going to use this to remove most of the material from the mortise in the body. So this is where we're at after the Forstner bit. As you can see, I removed a bunch of material, but I still gotta finish cleaning this up with a chisel, so I'm just gonna do that now. Okay, so I gotta say, I'm really super bummed out about this. I just made this neck tenon too big. Like, so frustrating. This is kind of a big deal. So what I'm gonna do is, I probably could just glue this in with epoxy, but I was honestly really trying to do a good job on this base. So this is a real bummer. So frustrating. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna clean this out with a router, and then just glue in a new piece of maple in here, and then just recut this again. Hopefully good this time. And you know, the nice thing is, you know, once this is in here and the fretboard goes on, you know, nobody's ever gonna see the repair. So I mean, I'll know about it, you'll know about it, but it's not gonna be like super apparent. But oh geez, that's so frustrating. But it's the way she goes, I guess. Okay, so just showing you what I'm doing here. I got my straight edge here. I got it clamped into place, and I got a stop piece here. What I'm going to do is come in with my router and just clean up this cut. And then I'm going to reset my straight edge to this side, and I'm going to come in and clean it up. And then I'm just going to glue in a solid block of maple in here. And then I'm going to recut this mortise tomorrow. So, I mean, really, all that's going to be left of this block that I'm putting in here is just a tiny little bit along each edge. But I think this is the best way to do it, and it's going to give me the most solid connection. Okay, so I've cleaned this hole out with the router, and then I made this piece to go into it. So, you know what? It's good enough. This part's going to get covered by the fretboard anyway, and yes, my patch has a patch on it. I accidentally cut on the wrong side of the line. Most of this is going to get removed anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run it. We're going to glue this in with some epoxy, and then I'm going to come back and recut this mortise, and hopefully this time not screw it up. Okay, so here I've got some maple sawdust, and here I've got some 5-minute epoxy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make all this up in here, spread it in here, and then I'm going to throw my block in the hole and clamp it, and then just leave it for a bit, and then I'm going to come back and recut it. Obviously, this is not ideal, but, well, it's the type of stuff that happens here in the danger zone. Okay, so there we go. We've got the block patched in here with epoxy. Just gonna let this dry for a bit, and then I'll come and recut this mortise and hopefully not screw it up this time. Okay, so I've actually let this dry for a few hours now, and the epoxy is hard, so we can get rid of that. Get these clamps off of here. Okay, so I've had some time to reflect while this dries, and I came to a realization, and that is I forgot a step that I wanted to do when I made the neck tenon. The way I have this neck tenon now is it comes in on either side of the fretboard. So the fretboard will conceal the joint, except at the end. I was intending to cut this back, but I never did. So that means the fretboard won't overhang and cover the joint at the end. So when I made this first cut, I kind of locked myself in to having to make this perfect. The nice thing I have an opportunity now to do is I can fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut, you know, just a little bit, like 1/8 of an inch off the end here, just enough so that my fretboard will cover it. But that's not really going to solve my problem completely. I'm also going to have to remove some material from here where the actual heel meets the body. I mean, I could actually remove material from here, but there's already not a lot of material there, so I don't want to do that. This is going to give us a body joint a little bit, not quite 17th fret. It's going to be a little bit before the 17th fret, but in terms of playability, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. And you know what? It gives me a chance to fix my mistakes. So I'm going to take it. Yeah, I just got to roll with the punches on this one. I was once told by a very wise man, it's not that a professional doesn't make mistakes, they just know how to fix the mistakes. Now, I'm not saying I'm a professional, but I'm just saying if you know how to fix your mistakes, that's a pretty big deal. That's good. Okay, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do is just mark this body. All right, that looks good. Now I'm also going to make a mark on my tenon that I need to remove. So I've got my neck marked. I'm going to take about 1/4 of an inch off of here. I got my body marked where I'm going to take the material off of that. It's going to be just enough to conceal all this ugliness. Okay, so to cut the end of the tenon off, probably should use a handsaw, but what I'm going to do is actually use my compound miter saw. Okay, so now I got my shaping set up back here. I'm just going to sand this little bit of material off the edge here to my line that I made. And then we'll start with the neck mortise again, second time. I still have a little bit more glue on here than I'd like, so I'm just going to clean that off. Okay, so I got the repair sanded down. You see what I'm talking about? I got my center line redrawn. Now I'm ready to mark my tenon on here for the second time. Hopefully this time I don't screw it up. Okay, so what I've done here is I just outlined my tenon in blue tape, and I come inside of the pencil line this time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean a lot of this material out with a Forstner bit, and then I'm actually just going to come at it with a router after that, and then I'm just going to take it real slow this time so I don't screw this up again. I've removed a fair amount of material from there with the Forstner bit. Now I'm going to set up my router and kind of just clean this out. And yeah, take it from there. Okay, so this is my router setup right now. I got my straight edge. It's clamped down there. And then I got this piece of plywood clamped to it. And that's going to hold it on this tape line here. Hopefully that's good enough. And then I got this piece of walnut just glued here as a stop so that I don't go past it. Hope this works out. Just a quick reminder, these tools are dangerous. If you are thinking about getting into woodworking but don't have any experience, please get some hands-on training using tools. With some of these tools, it only takes one mistake to change your life forever. So you can see the mortise hole is done. It blew out a little bit there, but at this point, I'm just going to deal with it. I was kind of in the zone here and forgot to talk, so I'm just going to do a voiceover. Basically, what I'm doing is very carefully sanding down the neck tenon where it's rubbing, as well as a bit of work on the body mortise. This fitting process took me over an hour to do. I basically had to do small tweaks on every surface of the joint to get a good fit. There are probably way easier and better ways to do this, but this is what I had to do to get it done. At the end of the day, it worked, so that's what I care about. Let me know in the comments if you have any tips for next time I do this. So that's it for this video. Things went a bit sideways in a couple of spots, but at the end of the day, it's all good. The neck tenon turned out great. The body mortise could be a bit better, but it works. And once the base is assembled, nobody will be able to see the horrors of this video, unless they watch the video. In the next video, I'm going to be working on the headstock again. This time, I'm going to be doing the mother of pearl inlay and installing the tuners. In the videos after that, I'll be routing the body for electronics, installing fret markers, gluing the base together, installing frets, doing the finish, assembly, setup, and of course, showing off the finished product. So if you found that interesting and want to see how this turns out, make sure to subscribe. And if you're still watching, do me a favor and leave a like or check out one of the other videos on the screen right now. It helps out the channel, and I appreciate it. Until next week, talk to you later.